Hello and welcome back to Monday, May 15th, MLB DFS Breakdown. We are back. We are excited for the week. Let's just jump right into it. But before we do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Helps us out a ton, helps us to give more and more free content. And if you are not already, come on, join me at LineStar. $29.99, the best deal in DFS. It gets you access to all of our DFS stuff, as well as Props AI, which has been huge for us in the prop market. Now, let's get into the fun Monday slate. We got 10 games, and as always, we will jump in. First of all, it doesn't look like there's any major weather issue. There is a little bit of weather in Colorado, but I don't think anything that we have to worry about for postponement. Now, highest owned, Merrill Kelly. It's versus the A's. A's have been a little bit of a sneaky offense lately, and Kelly is a decent pitcher, but not great. Hasn't really shown a ton of upside except for versus Washington. So I could see this one going either way. Oakland does have a 26% K rate versus righties. Kelly has a decent K rate as well. So this combined K rate's 27%, which is why everybody is going here. But he is just a meh pitcher, but in a good matchup. The one thing with Oakland is they have shown a little bit of pop recently versus righties, a 160 ISO, which, league average is like 140. So not a terrible situation there for Oakland. BVP data, not really enough to talk about here. So Kelly's in a fine matchup. Understand why people are going there. I think he's a little expensive for the pitcher that he is, though. I don't know if I'll be getting a ton. Next, we got Charlie Morton versus the Rangers. Rangers striking out 24.5% versus righties. Don't have a high WOBA. Their ISO 166, so similar to Oakland versus righties here, and 25% combined K rate. So Morton has been pitching fairly good lately. 2.96 ERA over the last month, 3.65 FIP over the last 5 starts. He has a 26% K rate. I don't mind going to Morton versus Texas here, especially a little bit cheaper price and less ownership than Kelly. Now, Framber. I think you got to like Framber today versus the Cubs. He just had a great outing. He's been very consistent this year. He does have some upside. The Cubs strike out 29% versus lefties. He has a 28.6% K rate over his last 20 starts. I think Framber's in a really nice spot here and not a ton of ownership going to him. And I think he's clearly the best pitcher on this slate. So I will be getting to Framber, that is for sure. Waka, I don't love it. He's fairly cheap, so I get it. Flaherty has shown a little bit of upside lately, but he's also been getting crushed. 10 runs 2 starts ago, gave up 3 runs last start. So I don't know if I can trust him with ownership going there. Now, Freddie Peralta, I do like. Cardinals haven't been great. They have started hitting a little bit more, but Peralta's been a very good pitcher. 3.72 FIP over his last 5, 3.35 over his last 20. Solid 26% K rate, 24% combined K rate. Getting very little ownership. I like Peralta. And Alek Manoah is kind of interesting. His price is still down. Hasn't been pitching well, but for whatever reason, he pitches well against the Yankees. As you can see, 24 points against them a few starts ago, went 5 Ks, 7 innings. And if you click his matchups, 3 of the 4 starts versus Yankees were good last year. Both of the starts in New York were good too. So I don't mind going to Manoah being unowned. And probably not too much I'm going to underneath Manoah's ownership. Now let's flip to old FanDuel, see what we got over here. Highest owned pitcher, Framber, which I believe he should be. I'm probably paying up for him on FanDuel today. Don't mind going to Morton either. Manoah is probably a little expensive for how he has been pitching. You can make a case for Kelly too, but only $1,000 more you get to Valdez. I'd be going to Valdez. And let's jump into some stack attacks. Should be actually a pretty fun hitting slate. The highest owned is going to likely be Cincinnati here, which it's just because of the Colorado. Why isn't the stacks pulling up? All right, there we go. Loading stacks. All right, here we are. Like I called it, Cincinnati being the highest owned with good reason. Seabold just isn't a very good pitcher. If you can see, 5.94 FIP over his last 20, 2.41 fantasy points per plate attempt. I think you really got to like the Reds here. I believe Seabold is... Oh, sorry. No, that's Ruwinski. Seabold, just not a great pitcher in a really good spot in Colorado. I think you got to like Cincinnati. They can beat you with steals. They can beat you with power. They're cheap, so you can get up to Valdez. They're in a fine spot. The one thing is that the weather in this game isn't as good in some spots, but you have the elevation. You have the Coors effect. So they are interesting. Next, highest projected. Dodgers are popping up here. You know, Pablo Lopez has been a really good pitcher. The splits do favor the Dodgers a little bit here, and that's why the projections are really popping for the Dodgers. I think they're interesting. They have a mix of prices, so it's not... You don't have to have a super expensive Dodger stack. As you can see, this one right here, only 22.9K, which is similar to this red stack. So, the Diamondbacks. I really like the Diamondbacks today. They're going against Ruwinski, who versus lefties is giving up a 500 opponent average. I think you really got to like the lefties in this Diamondbacks lineup. 5.8 FIP, 2.44 fantasy points per plate attempt. He's been bad his last 5. Their bullpen is terrible. I think this is a really good spot for the Diamondbacks. More Dodgers, more Cincinnati as expected. Now let's look at some of the value stacks, some of the cheap stacks. We got the Giants popping up. It's likely somewhat of a bullpen game here for the Phillies, so you can go to the Giants. One thing that worries me with the Giants is they do sub guys out, so it's really hard to sometimes hit a stack with them. Now, I think Minnesota is super interesting. The Dodgers have Syndergaard on the mound. He lets guys steal, so if you're going to use Minnesota, make sure it is guys with some speed. It'll give you a little more upside. You know, if they have a little power and speed combo, you're in a really good spot. Probably a decent floor, even though Syndergaard is an okay pitcher. And that'll do it for the value. Let's check out our ceiling. My guess is, yep, we're going to have a lot of Diamondbacks all over here. St. Louis is popping a little bit as well. It is versus Peralta. I like Peralta. Braves are in a decent spot. We don't really know who Texas is going to have yet, but, you know, it's a good hitter's park. And I'm glad Texas is popping up here as well because we know Charlie Morton can get blown up. He can give some home runs, and Texas absolutely can hit a couple home runs. So I don't mind this as a super low-owned stack. And we got to bring up Boston. It's Boston versus Seattle. I think this is a good game to target just because Boston can be super hitter friendly when it's decent weather and the winds are blowing out, which we have tonight. So we do have an elevated game total in this game. So definitely look into playing some Seattle and Boston there. And let's just check out some of this FIP. Yep, Seabold, Ruwinski, they're both popping up here. And that will do it. So a lot of different ways we can go today. Texas, Braves, Colorado, Cincinnati, Seattle, Boston. You can go Toronto. Toronto's kind of interesting with Brito on the mound. Brito has been okay. Got Arizona. I really like Arizona today. And that'll do it. You guys have a great day. Good luck. It's going to be a fun slate. A lot of different ways you can go on it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment. I'm here to help. Have a good one, guys. Bye.